Okay, so what we're gonna do is this is 1.4 and we're gonna do some ready, set, go problems. Problems number 1, 7 are gonna be done in this video. So, okay, so problem number 1. Okay, so what it's asking you to do is evaluate the equation for the indicated function values. This is a fancy way of saying put -4 in for n, okay? And so it's just substitution. Hey, can you substitute -4 for n? That's all they're asking. Can you substitute that -4 in for n? Wait, you just want me to put -4 in for n? This is like classic substitution, right? Like everything else stays exactly the same, except for that -4, which is going to go in here, right? Except for that -4, it's going to go right there. And then, so what do you want me to put there, Ms. Johnson? The -4. Ms. Johnson, how did you know to put -4 there? I knew because here it says n, and here -4 is in his spot. So I said, oh, you just want me to put -4 there? Yes, absolutely. And then you simplify and then you're done. Okay, so 5 times -4 is -20 plus 8. My remembering is -12 is my answer. So I see this as f of -4 equals to -12. Even though I see it like this, I've told you in the past that my brain thinks about it like this, -4 comma 12. Oops, -12. And the reason why I say that is because this is new to you, maybe, and you're not comfortable with this like f of 4, -4, f of x, f of 12, but you are comfortable with this point. This is your x, this is your y. This is your x, this is your y, okay? So in the chat, if you can let me know if that makes sense. Okay, so right now, what I want you to try to do is someone else asked me for number 7. Can you just copy what I would write right here for number 7? Can you just copy right here what I would write for number 7? So if you're watching this video, pause the video and then come back and check to see if your answer is right. Okay, so now we're going to try 7. We're going to try 7. And the very first thing I wanted you to do was just copy it, right? So I'm literally going to copy this equation, and instead of putting that n there, I'm going to leave a little spot. So Ms. Johnson, like this, 10 to the something? Yep, just 10 to the something. Now here, this told me, instead of n, put a -2 instead. Now, my example for this is like, have you ever gone to a restaurant and you said, instead of this, can I get a this instead, right? And so my classic one is, instead of bacon, can I please have avocado instead? And so on my sandwich, everything on the sandwich is the same. The bread, the turkey, the mayonnaise, the lettuce, tomato, onion, whatever the case. But instead of putting bacon, I'm asking for avocado. So where the bacon was, the chef is going to put, oops, that's not what I wanted. The chef is going to put a -2 there. The chef is going to put a -2, a piece of bacon. Instead of putting the bacon there, they're going to put avocado, right? My computer's been slow all day. Okay, imagine a -2 there for a second. Okay, so I need to remind you, back in 8th grade, you learned, or you could have learned, or should have learned, I don't want to use the word should, but you had the opportunity to learn -2, negative exponents. So instead of telling you the rule, I'm not a huge fan of the rule, okay? I'm not a huge fan of the rules. I'm more of a fan of you understand something and then you can do something about it. Okay, so if you don't remember the negative exponent rule, this is what it is, okay? Before I do that, I'm going to talk about 10 to the third. Okay, so what 10 to the third actually means, it means 10 times 10 times 10. Ms. Johnson, it's not a 3, it's a -2. I know, I'm going to get there, I promise, okay? If I say, okay, well, what's 10 to the 4th? Well, it's 10 to the 3rd, and then I multiply by 10. Essentially, I'm multiplying by 10, moving up there. I'm multiplying by 10 to get up, right? but I need to get to the -2 land, so I'm going to move down, okay? So over here, I'm going to do 10 squared, which you all know means 10 times 10. Ms. Johnson, that's 100. I don't really care that it's 100 right now. I only care what the pattern is showing me. So if you notice, from 10 cubed to 10 squared, I'm thinking of Noah right now, right? Because he says, hey, Ms. Johnson, you just go backwards. So how do you go backwards of multiplying by 10? Well, going backwards means I'm going to divide by 10, right? I'm going to divide by 10. My joke is that I'm faster than my computer. There it is. I saw you. I saw you. Look at you, you fancy. Okay, then I'm going to continue on. Okay, well, what would 10 to the first be then, Miss Johnson? Well, according to this, I just divide by 10, but that just means there's 110. Isn't that true? Isn't it true in the pattern divide by 10? Isn't it true in the pattern that 10 to the first means 10? Yeah, Miss Johnson, we know that. Okay, good. So that's going to help me get to 10 to the -2nd. Okay. Okay, so you want me to keep going, Miss Johnson? Yes. So 10 to the 0, so that means I'm going to divide by 10 again, means, so what's 10 divided by 10? What's 10 divided by 10? Oh, that's 1. Okay. Okay, so here I'm going to divide by 10. So for those of you who ever forgot, Miss Johnson, why is 10 to the 0 actually equal to 1? This is why. So if you're the person that forgets or only remembers part of a rule, the reason why I'm not a fan of rules, by the way, is this. So at one point, many times during a year, students will say to Ms. Johnson, hey, but isn't it true, Ms. Johnson, that a negative and a negative make a positive? I'm like, well, yeah and no. It's yes if you're multiplying, it's no if you're adding, right? So when students only memorize part of the rule, they're gonna use that rule wrong. So don't memorize, please understand this. Okay, continue on, Ms. Johnson. Okay, sorry. So then I'm gonna continue on and I'm gonna divide by 10 again. That gives me 10 to the -1st. If you look at my pattern, it goes 3, then 2, then 1, then 0, then -1. You see my exponents right there? Boom. It's going down by 1 every single time. So where, Ms. Johnson, what does 10 to the -1st mean? Well, do the same thing, right? Do the same thing. So divide by 10, Ms. Johnson? Yes, please divide by 10. So when you divide by 10, you get 1/10. Is that right, Ms. Johnson? Yes, that's perfectly right. The pattern showed me, the exponents tell me, okay? So Ms. Johnson, couldn't you have just told us that you put it on the bottom? Yes, but I'm going to guarantee that your teacher told you that before and you forgot it. So here's why it works. Okay, continue on. So Ms. Johnson, if I want 10 to the -2nd, right? You would just divide by 10 again? Yes, you would just divide by 10 again. So Ms. Johnson, 1/10 times 10? It's 1/10 times 10. 1/10 times 10, give me a second. Okay, 1/10 times 10. Also known as 1/10 squared, right? 1/10 squared. Now you could see what the rule actually is. The rule isn't random. The rule is from the definition. So I'm always going to show you the definition and say, hey, if you forget during a quiz, can you go back to the definition? Because the definition is going to tell you what to do. The rule, if you remember wrong parts of rules or only parts of the right rule, you're going to get it wrong. So what do you want me to do here, Ms. Johnson? I want you to just write it as 1/10 times 10, or just 1/10 squared. Now, some of you are like, Ms. Johnson, can I please write 1/100? Sure, as long as you remember that it's 10 squared. So that's what negative exponents are. I just did another, video with my other class. So I'll probably link it. No, I probably won't. No, that's good. All right, so does that make sense? Does that bring clarity to our how you evaluate functions? don't get mystified by these rules of evaluate. Evaluate means to find the value of. I want to know the number that equals to, right? The answer. All right, let me stop.